today on the Prosperity Nation podcast.
You're challenged to actually think, like, what do you actually really want in life? And then to me, I go down this path of well, what's my purpose? What am I doing here? Why am I here? What do I enjoy? And then I just become a mess.
Yeah, me too. Well, welcome to the Prosperity Nation podcast. I'm Angie Grainger, and this is my co-host, Elise Eropkin.
Hey, Angie.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. How about you?
It's good. You done with tax season for a little while?
Kind of.
All the busyness is totally gone, and you're just totally kicking back with nothing to do, right?
Yeah, I'm going to the beach every day. No.
Why?
Well, we had some extensions. Some people wanted to because of, they could. Because the fires, the fires in LA was an automatic extension. So a lot of our clients are like, yeah, extend me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's fine though.
Nobody likes to do taxes. If we can extend them year after year after year, we would.
I know, but it kind of it breaks it up. So it's kind of nice in that sense.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I don't want to get everybody down talking about taxes here. So what are we going to talk about today, Elise?
We're going to talk about financial freedom.
Oh, nice. Well, this is the show to do it on. I would agree. This is the show where we want you to live a life you love without money holding you back. So how does financial freedom play into that? I can't wait to dive into this topic.
Are you asking me? Are you?
No.
Okay.
No. Wait, where's your emotional support pen? You got that?
I have it.
You good? Okay, good.
Of course I do.
All right, good. So, Elise, what does financial freedom mean to you?
Freedom to...
I know. I just don't you love it when I put you on the spot like this? We don't script this, so I have to put it on the spot.
No, we don't. It means, I guess, freedom. I hate saying this because it's cliche, but freedom to do what I want when I want without having any concern or hesitation about what it might do financially. So it's like if I want to go on a trip, go on a trip. Who cares? Not who cares what it would do to my finances, but
yeah.
But, making enough to where I can do just kind of whatever I want, whenever I want. But then having this certain lifestyle to be able to also cater to that. Because you could have a job where you're making a hell of a ton of money, but you can't take the time off work ever. Or whatever. So it's like that to me is not really financial freedom. Because you have the money, but you don't have the lifestyle. So it's the marriage of both. Okay. I'm just going to sum it up.
Long answer, but I got your point. It is. It's not cliche. It's actually what everybody does say. It's like, I want the money. I want enough money to do what I want when I want to do. And how much is that?
It's different for everyone, I think, honestly.
I think people don't know.
Well, they don't know, but it's also different.
But I'm asking in that way of how much money would you need to be making to be able to have the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want to? Is there even an answer to that? Because your wants are just going to get bigger when your money gets bigger.
Yeah, I think there's a minimum answer. Because you have to be able to afford your bills, and basic living expenses. But it's aside from that, as long as you have, let's say, a job that supports being able to take the time off, then I think for me, that's all I need. I kind of feel like I have it right now to a degree, Yeah,
well, I get that, except for what I do see all the time is that as soon as you get more money and now your bills are all paid, what do? You increase your lifestyle.
You raise the bar.
You raise the bar and you're back in the same thing again, right? And then you raise the bar again and you get a bigger house and you get a bigger job and you get a nicer car and you get a bigger job and you get, your next, your second house maybe, and now you got to make more money. You're setting that whole thing is like a trap.
That's true.
Because it's why? It's actually not the correct solution to the problem.
Well, yeah, I think people think that having a bigger house and a nicer car is what's going to actually bring them happiness.
So financial freedom has to do with happiness?
I don't know, maybe.
So you mean there's something going on besides being able to have the money to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it? Why do you want that?
That's still nice, but
why do you want that? Why would you want that?
Because people think that's what they that will bring them happiness and joy.
So having the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, is what gets the happiness and the freedom. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you know what that is? That's where it goes back to our always goes back to our question. Because the bottom line, I don't know, the way I look at it with financial freedom is asking yourself, what do you want freedom from? Mm-hmm. And to me, where I have so much financial freedom is because I don't let finances be the thing that's holding me back from things, whether I have money or not. So it's not waiting until I have a certain amount of money to be able to do what I want when I want to do it. Is I figure out what things do I want to do that's going to bring me the most happiness, and I start doing those, and then I figure out where the money is or what I need or whatever. But it's not because I don't have the money. It's because I know what I want that makes me happy, and I arrange my life to make that happen.
So what is that?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what is it?
It's like freedom from finances.
No, but what is for you?
What is what?
What's your freedom? What is
the financial freedom for me?
Yeah.
Oh, me personally.
It's your turn.
So, okay. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, put me on the spot. Great. No, I actually can probably answer this. We'll see. But what I do know is that so many times I do actually have more financial freedom than most people I know, even those that are making millions of dollars. And I don't make that much money because I do know what brings more aliveness to my life. I know what kind of freedoms I want in my lifestyle. And then I just make all that work. And for me specifically, being able right now to have 2 homes, like I have 2 homes. And that's because I love to spend time with my family, and I love to help them, and I love to play with them, and I love to play with their dogs, and I do a lot of dog sitting. And I have this country like retreat where I get to go relax and chill and, like play at the lake. But I love the city. And so being able to have, 3 days a week I'm in the city, 4 days a week I'm there, and set it up so that when I'm in the city, I do my church volunteering, I do karate, I do work and do podcast, and then boom, I go to the weekends and I help mom go to the farmer's market, I help the kids, we go up shooting in the mountains or, out on the boat, whatever those fun activities are, or just hang out and chat, So it's like creating the best of both worlds or all the worlds. Whether I have money or not, I make it work out because I direct the money into making those things happen. So I'm not held back waiting until I make a certain amount of money before I can do that. For example, I say I have 2 houses, right? And what picture comes to mind for most people? How am I going to ever afford 2 houses? Or, I can't buy, do I buy?
I can't have one house.
Exactly. But I arranged it. So the combination of both those houses, right now I'm renting because I think I've mentioned in prior shows, like I sold all my properties during the pandemic, gave my kids the inheritances, before I die. But anyway, so I'm renting now, so I can have this flexibility because the rent in both places combined is less than what I was paying for one place in Los Angeles.
That's true.
So, it's just a reallocation of resources so that I do have the lifestyle freedom to be able to do what I want to do. And so part of that too is, I'm almost every day I'm writing on my book because I'm an author and I write books. That's what I do. So I have the freedom to write. I have the freedom to work out. I have the freedom to eat the way I like to eat. I have the freedom to be in different locations. I have the freedom to volunteer. I have the freedom to work. All of those things are choices that I specifically put into my life because they make me a more alive and happy person. I just won't do it any other way anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because while you were talking there, and I know we've talked about this before, because I don't think we're really saying any, a lot of times we're not really saying different things.
That's true. I've probably told that story a million times.
Or in different ways, whatever. Yeah. But it's sacrifice.
What's the sacrifice?
Well, I don't know. In your case, I'm just not even judging or making an assumption. Right. But you said you gave up your place in LA to have 2. One place in LA to have 2 places. So you had to give up something to get something else.
Right.
So in your case, that was a sacrifice, whether it was a positive one or not, I guess, that you had to make. So I think to me, you have to make some type of sacrifice in some cases to be able to have financial freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, the sacrifice that I have given up right now is owning a home in order to be able to reduce my costs and have 2 locations.
Yeah.
So in some cases, is that a detriment or a positive? I don't know. But it is a choice. And that's, I think, the sacrifice you're talking about. It's taking real ownership of your choices and not just falling into the path of this is what you should do in order to be successful or gain financial freedom. Because the things we're told to do to financial freedom do not give us financial freedom. Like, let's be very clear about that.
Yeah, or even like keeping a job that's paying very well that you are just miserable,
Right.
Which is more important to you, having a job that pays less but being happier? That might be a big sacrifice you have to take, but it could be very positive. But, it's willing to give up certain things that you might think are it.
Yeah. No, I think what you're saying is true, and I think that it comes back to you having to really, really understand for yourself what your important priorities are.
Absolutely.
And make them yours and not what everybody else is going to judge you about or think about. That's why I like to talk about it on the podcast, because sure, I used to be like, I'm a financial advisor and top expert in CPA and I don't own a house. What's wrong with me? Like, am I being a hypocrite? And I'm like, heck no. I'm being like very authentic and real with making some real choices. Could I own a house right now? Absolutely. Do I want to spend $15,000 on a roof? Heck no. I'd rather go take that $15,000 and donate it to my church or go travel for a month to Australia and visit Sean. Hey, Sean. Or whatever. And like that's the realness about what I like to talk about, because I don't do it the normal way. I don't work 30 years and then retire and then, sit on my front porch. I never will do it that way. I never have. And that's given me so much freedom. And this is the freedom that people are craving. It's not financial freedom. It's personal freedom. Mm-hmm. And that's
they're so intertwined, though, and that's the problem.
That's what we are doing with it, but that's not the truth. It's not the truth. And that's what we're trying to bust out through this whole podcast. And living a life you love without money holding you back is realizing that connection and intertwinement is false.
Right.
It's absolutely false. Now, of course, I don't have the money to go be on $1 million yacht, but I don't want to. And even if I had $100 million, I still wouldn't want to. That's not my thing,
I wouldn't mind that.
So am I limited? Yes, I'm limited. I can't do everything I want anytime. But I also value those things I want and do those that bring me that most level of freedom personally. I don't feel held back in my own personal freedom because of money, no matter how much I make or have or don't have. That's my point. I know I'm chatting a lot about it. Sorry.
That's okay. You're obviously very passionate about this subject, which, obviously. It's kind of the whole purpose of this podcast, really.
Yeah, I am so passionate. I mean, that's what the upcoming book is all about. It's the freedom mentality. It's the mentality of freedom. And that breaking that lie of financial freedom is what gives you personal freedom. It's not true. And there's so much I could share and talk about in this whole what is a philosophy, but you get the idea. We're all getting the idea. It's like you've got to know what makes you come alive, and then you have to do that. Mm-hmm. You just have to do it. Mm-hmm. So yes, I can jump on the bandwagon about it because I do have a lot of passion about it. But I also see people really suffering when it comes to making choices and their financials and how much they're working so hard to earn the money to do some goals that they think that they should do. And I just hate seeing that suffering. I really hate people seeing the suffering.
You know what I hate? When people say, I work so hard for what? And that's true. It's like, to me, that's like, well, why? Yeah, why are you working so hard, first of all? I don't know. Yeah,
I think what's even worse than that is saying that when you're retired, when it's kind of too late.
It's never too late.
I worked too hard. I know, I agree. I worked too much for what? Because now you wasted decades of time.
It's true.
I think and that's for me why I get so passionate about it, because I made that decision when I was 31 years old. I'll never do that. Like, I'm going to live every day, like fully, no matter what that takes. And it's put me on some radical paths, I have to say. But you know what? It's been okay. I'm still here, and I'm still doing well, and I'm thriving. So,
yeah.
But
there was a really cool thing I read. I want to share with you if I can find it in a second. It was like kind of on that same topic. If I can find it really quickly. But it was, okay. So it was a meme on Instagram, and it's with Snoopy and Charlie Brown, right? And he goes, Charlie Brown says, "We only live once, Snoopy." And Snoopy says, "Wrong. We only die once. We live every day."
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I know. So it was just a different perspective, like kind of like you were saying. It just reminded me of that. Like, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just don't want to be at that. I don't want to be on my deathbed, whenever that is in the future, and have regrets that I didn't live my life and have the courage. It really takes courage to do things that work for you and not what the societal pressure and beliefs and, thoughts about financial freedom or anything else are.
Yeah.
It's so courageous to know yourself and to act upon that. It's not what we're encouraged to do. We're encouraged to conform.
To be sheep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
and do what everyone else does and have the same things that everyone else has. And so,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's being able to say, find that and then go do it and realize that it's not money that's holding you back from that. It's the lack of courage that's holding you back from that. Sorry.
I know. No, it's true. It does take a lot to leave a job or to, change your lifestyle. And you don't necessarily know if it's going to be the right move or not, I guess. Quitting a job for another job you think will make you happier, that's challenging, especially if you're taking a pay cut and you have a family to provide for. But when I have people ask me sometimes, like even friends, like, I don't know if it's the right decision or is this a bad decision, I always respond the same way. Like I said, that's on you to decide. Like, you are in charge of making it good or bad.
Yeah.
If it's a bad decision, you'll make it a bad decision. Like, that's fully on you. So
exactly.
But it's scary.
It is scary. It does. I mean, I don't know why it's so hard to have that. Like, even just to take the time and the quiet space to ask yourself those questions.
Yeah.
I mean, just that. I mean, Elise, when you and I first met a few years back.
Great.
Yeah. Our first thing that I was working on, that I was beta testing on you and our other person at the time, was figuring out a goal achievement process, that we could repeat and do.
Yep.
And what was the hardest thing for both of you guys to do was to figure out what your goals were.
What our goals are. Yeah.
Yeah. And to take the time and really sit down and take 15 minutes or 5 hours, whatever that is, and sit with yourself and ask those questions, like, that's the hardest step.
It is, because you're actually confronting something that you haven't really confronted before. You're challenged to actually think, like, what do you actually really want in life? And then to me, I go down this like path of like, well, what's my purpose? What am I doing here? Why am I here? What do I enjoy? And then I just become a mess. But
yeah, me too. I admit, you know what anchors me when that happens? Is I have to take inventory of what I already did. Because if I start thinking too much about what I should do or will do or can do, it gets spinny like that. But I go back and say, okay, what have I actually done where I felt really great after? And what have I done that I really wish I did, like I hated doing it, or I didn't like it, or I was stressed all the time, or I was angry all the time, or whatever. And take inventory of yourself from what you've observed that you have done already. That's
interesting.
It's easier to confront than it is to try and take an abstract idea and bring it into, a question about what's my purpose or, what's going to make me feel great. But it's like, what have you done in the past that made you feel alive?
Yeah, it's like not reinventing the wheel, kind of.
Yeah. So, okay, if I asked you that question, What's something you've done in the past or you've worked on or you've explored that actually made you feel really alive inside?
It's not like this.
This is how our clients feel. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry, clients. I'm sorry, friends. I'm sorry, Elise.
I know, right?
I call these questions out.
What? I don't know. I just really like to help people or animals.
And what exactly is the helping part that makes you feel that way?
When I realize or recognize that I've contributed in some way to them being able to be happier or live better or something.
Have you done that in your job here in any way?
I feel like I have, yeah.
And to give me an example.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of the things is like helping with tax situations, realizing that, I don't know, it's just right on my head right now because, just went out of it. But, if a client thinks they are going to owe a bunch of money in taxes, let's say, and they're kind of nervous and whatever, and I help and dig and find all these expenses that are very legit, and they get a refund or they don't have to pay as much and they're super happy and they're like, oh my gosh, I like that. Yeah. I like being able to help like that, or even just giving the insight into, let's say, how their business is working or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's finding those moments and then trying to name, well, what did you actually do there? Or what was it? Because those moments are those golden nuggets that if you keep putting more and more and more of those into your life, then you are going to have more and more freedom because you're not letting yourself get those things that bring you the most aliveness. You're not squashing them down. Or waiting for some point in the time in the future when you have a certain amount of money or you get to be a certain age or when the kids are grown or, all these things. It's like, stop waiting.
Right. Yeah.
And just do more of them on an everyday basis, doing it in your current work, in your, relationships, in your friends. Like, just do more of that. And that freedom grows from there.
Well, I think we were talking about this the other day when I realized, I don't know, to me it was out of nowhere, but probably wasn't, that because I was donating to this, I don't know, child thing. and then the ASPCA kind of came in my radar and I was like, but I want to donate there instead. I don't know, that made me so much happier. And not that kids aren't important and stuff, but my passion has always been more animals and so I had that thought the other day. I'm like, I need to find more ways that I can help animals, whether it's going volunteering at a shelter or, I don't have a lot of space to adopt, but I would love to adopt all the dogs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
all the dogs.
That's part of what I'm sure you love, that we do have a lot of veterinarian clients because you're actually helping them help animals, which is
100%.
Nice.
I was all for it when we kept getting more because I'm now I'm helping the person who's helping the animals. But and I had that same thought though, I need to figure out how I can do more of this because it just makes me feel good about myself and I know I'm helping, and I don't know, that's just what I like to do. Yeah.
But I think that's the point of all of this as we kind of come to a close with it. It's not the financial freedom that we're craving. It's the personal freedom. It's the freedom from what? The stress of money. That's what we want freedom from. Well, what if that's because you're waiting to have money to do the thing that you just talked about that makes you feel great? Because if you're doing more and more of those things that bring that aliveness and make you feel great, you're not worried about money when you're feeling that, So it's like having the courage to be honest with yourself and to look back in your life and find those golden moments that bring you alive and just say, do you want more aliveness or do you want to keep chasing money or waiting? And having that courage to do something about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, I want everybody to go out and try it. So give it a try. Let me know what you find out. What did you discover about yourself? What brings you those little aliveness nuggets? And what are you doing to bring more of them in your life? We want to hear from you. Share your stories with us.
Yeah, share those with us. You can email us at stories@prosperitynation.com. You can go ahead and follow us on all of our social media. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't forget.
Don't forget.
All right, we'll see you next time.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us today. Like and subscribe to videos from us on YouTube. Follow us online for the latest episodes, updates, and more. And invite others to join us at prosperitynation.com. That's it for now. We'll see you next time on the Prosperity Nation podcast.